So now we're looking at the audio rack, and it used to be when you looked at an audio rack, there were all kinds of knobs, the mixer controls would be here. This is actually the Soundcraft UI mixer, and all of the knobs have been eliminated except for masters. And the reason they give you masters, if for some reason you can't connect or you forget your computer, your tablet, you have no way of getting into this thing to make the adjustments, well, at least you could adjust the master the old-fashioned way by turning dials. And you see they're halfway up. So we could go lower or higher. And you could also do the same thing down here on the power amplifiers. So these are where all our inputs come into the mixer. You have some extra inputs that you could activate by plugging those in place, but you have 12 inputs, but you have more jacks than you have inputs simply because we wired it. We ran some extra cable, put in some extra jacks just to give you some room for growth. These are inputs, microphone inputs. These are the RCA inputs I told you about. These go into line left and line right, and I left you a cable with a mini 3.5 millimeter phone plug rather, that can go into a phone if it has that jack, go into the headphone jack of a computer, go into the headphone jack of a tablet or any other device, and there are various adapters if you wanted to do something else, or you could start with, say, RCA to RCA cords to go into a home-style CD player. But that's the line inputs, and then remember we saw something called player. There's a memory stick in here, and if that has music on it, you can, or any kind of recording, you can put it in here and you turn up the player and it'll play. There's also a place where there's I think it's a red dot, which is the way to access the recording capability. There's another slot here. You put a blank USB drive, put it in there, and you can record on it digitally, and you can access the controls, play, start, stop, record, all that on the tablet or the computer. So this is both a digital player and a digital recorder, depending on which USB slot you use. Now I was telling you about the outputs. Left and right is the main speakers. Actually, I think the right drives the speakers that are in the back, the offices, the lobby, and the left drives the main speakers up front. So these you would never change. This is aux 1, the aux 1 output, which goes down here to an amplifier that drives the choir monitor speakers. But these are the extras I was talking to you about. So if you want audio for video recording, if you want audio for streaming, you plug into one of these, and then you access it on the tablet, the aux 1 tab, and that's going to give me a signal here, whatever microphones I select when that aux tab is highlighted. So you've got 3 of these. So you could do all kinds of extra things and create separate mixes for everything that you're driving. And this is a balanced low impedance, which will drive about anything with an adapter. Now, true professional equipment is always going to have the 3-pin, but a lot of the semi-pro, it's going to have some other kind of connector, but you can buy an adapter to go from here into about anything. So this is, of course, your main power switch up here that shuts power off to everything. And down here are your power amplifiers. Now, your power amplifiers are driving, you got 2 channels in each one. Okay. So you got 4 channels of amplification. This power amplifier is driving the monitor. Now, turning this would raise or lower the volume on the monitors, but it makes a lot more sense to do it on the auxiliary tab on the wireless device. But in a pinch, you could adjust the volume going to the monitors. Those are the 2 speakers that face the choir. Same thing with the offices. Let's say there's something going on here and they don't want to hear it in the office. You can shut the offices and the lobby completely down on this control. This is affecting the main speaker on one side and the other side. You really don't want to mess with these. As long as you're getting adequate volume on your tablet, these stay put. That's why they've got yellow marks on them. This is just matched to the output of the mixer. These are going to do the same thing really as the controls up here, but we've for the most part, leave these alone because we're controlling the inputs on the wireless device, tablet, laptop, or phone. These are the only things that really draw a lot of power. These are the only things that would ever generate heat, and you're not going to push them that hard in this building to ever generate heat. That fan running is part of the rack. It's not necessary. If it's annoying, you can unplug it, because these have internal fans that are quieter. They work on demand, and this cabinet has enough ventilation. If this was being used at a rock concert, you'd want those fans running, but you're not going to generate enough heat to ever worry about that. So if you find that noise annoying, as I do right now trying to speak for a recording, you can just go in there and find a power cord to that fan and unplug it in the back, and this will still stay nice and cool.
How about the master outputs?
Master outputs go to the main amplifier and drive the amplifiers, plural, and drive all the speakers.
What about C and upper ones?
These? Oh, those are just quarter-inch outputs, because some amplifiers have quarter-inch jacks instead of 3-pin. They mimic these, yeah. Yeah, and these are headphone jacks over here. But there's a left and the right. The left feeds the main, the right feeds the auxiliary speakers in the lobby and the offices and so forth. But whenever you have both, it's always preferable to use the 3-pin. They're much more dependable. Okay.
Turning on and off. We want to be careful that we don't get that clips and stuff.
Well, the only thing you really don't want to do is you don't want to unplug and plug in microphones with the system powered on, because you get a loud pop. Other than that,
You do with this too, when you
powered on and off.
power it on and
Well,
off.
if that bothers you, doesn't hurt anything, but if it bothers you, you turn the amplifiers on last and off first. If we do that, we power those down, they're completely off, so now we won't get any thump. And then conversely, we power this on first. Everything's stabilized now, we can turn this on and we don't get any pop. It depends whether you care about it. I mean, I don't think the thump is that disturbing, is it?
Well, we just don't want to be
Yeah, we'll do it that way then.
hurting anything.
Yeah, no, you won't hurt anything.
Like the mics or anything.
No, it's strictly, what happens is when you turn the mixer on, the capacitor's charged, you get that thump. And so the amplifiers amplify that thump, and it's annoying, but it won't hurt anything. Probably the closest you could come to hurting anything, and I don't think you're going to, because this system is running at about 10% capacity. And so you have so much headroom. But when you plug in a condenser mic, you're connecting up 48 volts from the mixer, and that's that loud pop. So you really want to plug all your mics in before you power on the system.